Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, wanted to talk about, for me at least, what I thought was the most interesting matchup on the Showtime schedule of fights that they just announced recently. Some good matchups all the way around the board. A couple of guys are getting some stay busy fights, in their hometowns or in New York City, like Thurman and Spence are doing that. But one of the matchups I thought was the most interesting was in that 154-pound division between Erislandy Lara and Jarrett Hurd. That's a fight that I was hoping would happen. That's a fight that's now official. So about that fight, I'm really excited about it because Jarrett Hurd is someone that I've been following for about 3-4 years now. And whenever he fought Frank Galarza, because I remember when he fought Frank Galarza, that was the first fight I watched him. He fought on Showbox against Frank Galarza. They're both undefeated. At the time, ironically, Galarza was the one getting more of the hype and publicity, and Jarrett Hurd actually stole the show that night, and he got that win, and he's beat Austin Trout, and he's collected some good victories since then. So Jarrett Hurd become a champion. He's established himself as one of the best in the division. I have said myself that I think he's the most physically strong junior welterweight or junior middleweight in the world, and I'm happy about this fight because Lara, no disrespect to Lara, like I like Lara, I've had a chance to cover two of his fights, mismatched fights, but two of his fights in South Florida. He brings fights in South Florida, so I don't hate Lara or nothing like that. He is not the most exciting fighter to watch, but I do respect Lara. With him, he's ever since basically the Canelo fight. He fought Ishe Smith, picked up a title in that fight, defended it against Delvin Rodriguez. Then he fought Jan Zevic. I was at that fight. Then he had the rematch with Vons Martirosyan, got a W in that fight. Then he fought Yuri Foreman. I was at that fight as well. Another mismatched fight against a welterweight. Then he fought Terrell Geisha in his last fight which was main event, which I thought was crazy because nobody cared about that fight. But now he's fighting Jarrett Hurd, which is hands down, no doubt about it, the best opponent he has fought since fighting Canelo back in 2014. And this is what we want from Lara. Lara, a lot of people say he's the number one guy in the division. I never really agree with that because I don't think he truly ever established himself as the number one guy in the division. If beating Vons Martirosyan is what gets you the number one in the division, then the 154-pound division is in shambles because the guy's held the title hostage for years, and now he's fighting a guy that is going to be not just a live dog, but a very big threat to him. Jarrett Hurd, like I said, not the most skilled fighter in the world, really. He'd be one of the fighters in boxing you classify as a weight bully. The guy is massive for the weight class. And Lara is one of them fighters, man. Despite being as slick and as skillful as he is, his punch output is never high unless he's fighting, guys who are significantly smaller than him. And as far as when he fights Jarrett Hurd, if Jarrett Hurd starts walking him down like he was doing to Austin Trout in those middle to later rounds, I could see him really hurting Erislandy Lara, putting a beat down on him. I believe, I could be wrong. No, Lara knocked him down. I was thinking that Terrell Geisha made a knockdown Lara, but no, Lara knocked down Terrell Geisha in the last fight. But no, Jarrett Hurd, I'm gonna go on record. I'm gonna say it now, man. I think Jarrett Hurd's gonna beat Erislandy Lara. I think Lara, to me, as good as he is, experienced as he is, he just hasn't been in a big fight in a while. And when I say a while, I mean 4 years, and he hasn't been very active, and he's gotten to that place in his career where he's just very, very comfortable. So he's fighting a guy now in Hurd who's on the come up, who's picked up good wins. He's fought the likes of Galarza, the likes of Austin Trout. Trout, I think, is probably a good barometer for this fight because Trout is another slick boxer, southpaw, probably a lot more active and punches harder than Lara. And Hurd was able to withstand the barrage of shots that Trout was landing on him. So I don't know, man. I don't see, unless Lara goes a full 12 and just thoroughly outclasses this guy, I don't see how he's going to be able to stay away from the power and the pressure this guy just brings to the table. And the thing is, too, like I said, I go back to the experience of not Lara, but Hurd. Hurd, he's been fighting top guys. He fought Galarza, who was a good fighter at the time. He's still a good fighter, I'm saying, but he was undefeated at the time. That was a good fight for him. He beat the likes of Tony Harrison, good experienced. I wouldn't say top level, but name fighter at the weight class. Fought Austin Trout, who's a former world champion, stopped him. So this is a guy that's coming with a lot of confidence. This is a guy that's coming in for gusto, to go for the gusto. And Lara, to me, he just seems like a fighter that's on the downward spiral. So I'm gonna be interested. I want to be interested to see how he fights him. I don't really see Lara fighting a guy like Jarrett Hurd any differently than he fought a guy like Terrell Geisha. He'll probably go in there, jab, pot shot, and be mobile, and that's what I expect. But if he gives me anything but other than that, and scores a sensational victory against Jarrett Hurd, I'll be very impressed. But I just think it's the right time for Jarrett Hurd to take this fight with Lara. Lara has had a good career. He's definitely made a nice little name for himself. Not everybody's cup of tea, but definitely one of the top 30 fighters in the world. For the last number of years or so. So you gotta give him credit where credit is due. But I think his time is up. Jarrett Hurd gets the W. We'll stop him. Probably will overpower him, being the bigger man. Because it's not so much that he's just big. He's a big man that knows how to fight like a big man. Because you can be a big man and fight like you're 4 feet tall. Jarrett Hurd fights like a big man. He pushes up on you. He knows how to counterpunch. He knows how to counterpunch with the uppercut. He knows how to hook, slip a jab and hook off of it. The guy is a good little fighter, and a very strong fighter. So ultimately, I see him getting the W, overpowering Lara. But regardless of the fact, I think it's a good fight. It's going to reveal to us a lot about Jarrett Hurd because he's been picking up good wins along the way. But I think even this is a slightly bigger step up in competition than Austin Trout. And that's just how I see it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Jarrett Hurd, what do you guys think will happen when he fights Erislandy Lara? I see him ultimately just getting him out of there and picking up a stoppage victory. Lara's never been stopped in his career. Thus far with Lara, he only has, I believe, two losses actually. He lost to Paul Williams, which was, robbery. And then he lost to Canelo Alvarez, which is also classified as robbery. So clearly, you could look at him as maybe an undefeated fighter, but this is a guy that, if you go back to the first Vons Monterosa fight where Vons Monterosa was in his chest and he was pressing the action, he was, showing a good work rate. He gave him problems. And fighters with great work rates who are strong at the weight will give Lara problems. And that's exactly what Jarrett Hurd is. So that's why I'm picking him. Let me know what you guys think. Who you got in that fight? Hurd, Lara. Let me know in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe, do all that good stuff. Like I say in every video, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Danian. So until next time, take care, guys.